Hi, my name is Mason Nguyen, and I will be defending the negative against Project Indigo and how it's a detriment to not only cybercrime but our economic system. So, what is Project Indigo? Project Indigo is a pilot program that has recently established an information sharing channel for a subunit of FS Isaac, known as the Financial Systematic Analysis and Resilience Center. The subunit shares scrubbed cyber threat data, including malware indicators, with the Fort Meade-based Cyber Command, according to the current and former U.S. officials. So my opponent had this quote in his affirmative, which stated, "The purpose of Project Indigo is to allow U.S. Cyber Command to have access to private and public banking information with the goal in protecting critical infrastructure." So this quote ties into my first disadvantage, which is the sharing of private information is a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. So, as a result, this is the direct violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which allows for the right of privacy. Individuals should be allowed to keep information about their own bank statements and information to themselves. Giving away personal information to the banks is a negative outcome due to the Fourth Amendment being broken. For example, Facebook in 2017-2018 shared all of its consumer data with third-party companies, and as a result received major backlash for the scrutiny of the Fourth Amendment. They also took huge economical deficits as a result of their mistake, as their consumers did not trust them anymore. They went behind people's backs and sold the information to companies outside of the U.S. So I know it's just a social media platform, but could you imagine the backlash banks would receive if they did the same? If, let's say, someone hacked into the bank's databases that held all of our information about what we would buy or like the economic trends, it would be detrimental to our economic society. Our economic infrastructure would collapse in an instant. The hackers would know everything about us, from what foods we buy to what products we buy and what products are on the uprise and downfall. So we just show, like, basically the economic fluidity of our entire country and how our consumers, their like habits change, and they could persuade the habits to change towards companies of their own desires. So my disadvantage too is, how do we know the banks would use the information for good? Is keeping all the information in one place a good idea? So let's just say Project Indigo is passed and everyone's personal information goes into a bank's database. So that means all the information would be in one area. So every single person's personal information that they sent through the bank would all be in one area. So if that got hacked, that'd be really bad. The enemy will have all the information at their disposal, and all of our money would be in jeopardy. We need to realize that there's a positive to the keeping of individual privacy. My opponent also stated in his affirmative that North Korea has already taken $1.1 billion from our banks, and putting all of our information to one place is a bad idea. If they could hack our banks and take our money, what makes you think that they won't be able to hack into our personal information database? Our information would include the consumer trends that are taking place at that time, and a hack would create a domino effect as both the individual and the company that is in the middle of the transaction trend would perish. So they say like Apple's trending. So they would see that Apple is trending, and they would try to like hack the system in order for Apple not to succeed and have a different company that is based in their own country, like start their own upbringing. The hackers would realize which companies are generating the most consumer-centric revenue, and as a result would try to change the trend toward their own companies and desires. So for refuting my opponent's harm, he states that multiple countries and banks have been attacked around the world, and the use of protection like Project Indigo wasn't proven in other countries to have success on protecting their banks, and states no such evidence was given. Such as example, like North Korea and Russia were given examples as they literally hacked their banks for money. Refutation against solvency. people can have a peace of mind from hacking within their banks and the big banks in the country, but that doesn't mean that the sharing of customers or investors' personal information is protected from the hacker itself or the government. So us sharing, or according to Project Indigo, us sharing our information with the banks will, I guess, create a buffer for our assets, as like it will protect our money that we invest into companies. But if that's hacked, if our personal information is hacked, then like the company as well as the consumer would like feel the backlash from it, because the consumer's money would be in jeopardy, and the consumer trend of the company would also downfall. So putting our information all in one area just gives them like a big target. So they like, oh, we need to get this, we need to get this, we need to get all this information so we can understand how the U.S. works and what they're buying, what they're selling, what's good, what's bad, what is making the economy grow and what's making it fall. And they would just have all the information if they just got in. So Project Indigo has a plethora of flaws. A majority of them have to do with the invasion of privacy. Violating the Fourth Amendment is a huge problem, as it causes a domino effect within the economic community. The U.S. revolves around money. You need money for power, and if the hackers realize that like they get the information that has to do with money, they will exploit that and hack it. And, yeah, that's my take on Project Indigo and why it's bad for our economy.